Hi, my name is Karen, and I'm an American lay student of Ajahn Suchat, or Pra Ajahn Suchat Abhijato, who has given me the very special honor of being asked by him to record this book for you. This book was written by Pra Ajahn Suchat's own teacher, the Venerable Acariya Mun Nanasampanno, and is a spiritual biography written by him about his teacher, the Venerable Acariya Mun Biography. The title of the book is Venerable Acariya Mun Biography, a spiritual biography by Acariya Mun Nanasampanno, and it was published in 2005, translated into English by Bhikkhu Dick Silaratano. If you would like to learn how to download or get a hard copy of this book, or a list of which pages or chapters are read on each separate recording, please listen to the beginning of the first recording of this book. This book, in any form, is to be given away for free. Any ads you may see or hear in this recording have been put there by the platform you are using to listen or view with, for its own revenue, in exchange for letting us use their platform for free. Please forgive me for any mispronunciations of names, places, or words, as I'm still learning how to pronounce Thai and Pali, and for any background noises, as I'm just making these recordings in my apartment with an unruly dog and in the middle of a city. We're resuming today on page 149. We are in chapter 3 now, and we are starting at the first full paragraph on page 149 today. Having lived at Wat Chedi Luang Monastery for some time, Acariya Mun paid his respects to Chow Kun Upali and took leave to wander in search of solitude in the remote wilderness areas of the north. Chow Kun Upali readily gave his permission, and so Acariya Mun departed alone from Chiang Mai, beginning another journey. He had eagerly awaited the ideal seclusion he needed for a long time, and the perfect opportunity finally arose. Having been long involved in teaching others, it was the first time in many years that he had time alone. Initially, he wandered through the Mai Rim district in Chiang Dao, staying in the forested mountains there throughout the dry and rainy seasons. His efforts had reached the crucial final stage. He exhorted himself to strive earnestly to reach the final goal. Whatever happened, live or die. Nothing whatsoever would be allowed to interfere. Out of compassion, he had taught his fellow monks to the best of his ability. Of this he had no doubt. The results of his guidance had already begun to show in some of his disciples. Now it was time to have compassion for himself, to educate and lift himself above and beyond those obscuring inner factors which still needed to be overcome. The life of someone with social obligations and responsibilities is a life of distraction and of almost unbearable stress, never allowing adequate time for being alone. One must admit that this kind of life is a perpetual struggle to be endured. Even though a person may have enough mindfulness and wisdom to avoid this burden somewhat and alleviate the stress so that it doesn't overwhelm him, the opportunities to practice meditation are limited. The results are likely to be minimal and not worth all the disappointments and difficulties. This solitary excursion into the untamed wilderness was an ideal opportunity for him to disengage and live alone, aloof from all entanglements. Wild, remote forests are just the right kinds of places to live and practice for someone aiming to sever all residual attachments, both internal and external, from his heart. He can discard all the remaining concerns that might form the seeds of future existence, the source of all forms of dukkha that brings menace in its wake and causes endless suffering. Remote forests are the right environment in which a persistent and diligent person can zero in on the fundamental causes of existence, the great internal masters of deception leading us astray, and excise them quickly from his heart. While one is still far from reaching the shores of Nibbana, little benefit can be gained from involvement in other people's affairs, for that is comparable to overloading a barge that is ready to sink even before it starts going. When the coveted goal of the holy life seemed within reach, Acariya Mun's compassionate concern for others dropped away, replaced by motivations of a more personal nature. He was no longer considering the suffering of others. His resolve was focused firmly on the realm of purity, and he was concerned lest he not reach it this time. Thus he reflected, "Now I must worry about myself, pity myself, so that as a diligent disciple of the Tathagata, I can live up to its exalted virtue of unwavering perseverance. Am I fully aware that I have come here striving to cross beyond the world of samsara and attain the goal of nibbana, the freedom from all anxiety and dukkha? If so, what methods should be used by someone attempting to cross beyond the conventional world? The Lord Buddha first led the way and then taught us the Dhamma. What kind of guidance did he give? Did he teach us to forget our purpose and start worrying about this and that as soon as we have gained a modest understanding of Dhamma? In the beginning, the Lord Buddha publicly proclaimed the sasana with the help of a small number of arahants, getting his message rapidly spread far and wide. Most properly so. But I am not in the same exalted position, so I must view my own development as paramount right now. When I have perfected myself, then benefits to others will inevitably follow. This view benefits one who is circumspect and reluctant to waste time. I must reflect on this carefully so I can learn a lesson from it. Right now, I am striving for victory in a battle between the kilesas and magga, the way of Dhamma, in order to win freedom for the citta. Until now, its loyalties have been divided between these two rivals, but I aim to make Dhamma its undisputed master. If my persistence slackens and my powers of discernment are inadequate, the citta will slip from my grasp and fall under the ignoble influence of the kilesas, and they will ensure that the citta keeps turning in a never-ending cycle of birth and despair. But if I can keep up my persistence and keep my wisdom sharp, the citta will come under my control and be my own priceless treasure for the taking. The time has come for me to put my life on the line and engage the kilesas in a fierce, all-out assault, showing no hesitation or weakness. If I lose, then let me die while battling it out. I will not allow myself to retreat in disarray so that the kilesas can ridicule me. That will be a lasting disgrace. If I am victorious, I shall remain perfectly free for all eternity. So now, there is only one path for me to take. I must fight to the death with all my might for the sake of this victory. There is no other choice. This is the kind of exhortation that Acariya Mun used to embolden himself for the impending realization of the goal he had set for himself. It reflected his uncompromising decision to accept the obligation of striving for nibbana steadfastly both day and night, whether standing, walking, sitting, or lying down. Except when he rested to sleep, his time was wholly devoted to diligent effort. His mindfulness and wisdom circled around all external sensations and all internal thought processes, meticulously investigating everything without leaving any aspect unexplored. At this level of practice, Mindfulness and wisdom act in unison, like a wheel of Dhamma turning continuously in motion, irrespective of the body's action. Later, when Acariya Mun described his tremendous efforts during this time, his audience was so awestruck by his Dhamma exploits that they sat motionless with bated breath. It was as though Acariya Mun had opened the door to Nibbana, allowing them a glimpse inside without their having ever experienced Nibbana before. In truth, Acariya Mun was then in the process of accelerating his efforts toward the realization of Nibbana. Although only a stage in the course of his development, it nevertheless moved those who had never before heard of such a thing, and they were always carried away by the awesome power of his achievement. Acariya Mun said that his citta had long attained the third Arya level of Anagami, but because of his continual obligations to his followers, he had no time to speed up his efforts as he wished. Only when he had the opportunity to go to Chiang Mai was he able to maximize his practice and accomplish his objective. Chiang Mai's environment was conducive, and his citta was well prepared. Physically, he was in excellent shape, fit to exert himself in every activity. His fervent hope was like the radiant sun, streaming forth continuously to reach the shore free of dukkha in the shortest possible time. He compared his inner struggle between Dhamma and the kilesas to a hunting dog, which at full run corners its prey, and it is only a matter of time before the prey is torn to shreds in the jaws of the chasing hound. There could be no other ending, for the citta was armed with Mahasati and Mahapanya, a supreme mindfulness and supreme wisdom. They never lapse for a single moment, even when no one has no intent to be vigilant. At this level, mindfulness and wisdom are fully present, reacting automatically to all matters arising within oneself. As soon as their cause is known and their true nature is clearly understood, one simply lets go of them. It is not necessary then to be in command, giving orders, as is the case in the initial stages of practice. When equipped with habitual mindfulness and wisdom, there is no need for specific directions and calculated decisions to practice this or to investigate that, while having to simultaneously guard against lapses in attention. Reason and result are integrated into the nature of automatic mindfulness and automatic wisdom, so it is unnecessary to search on one's own for reasons and skillful methods to encourage their operation. With the exception of sleep, all daily activities are the working arenas for this level of Mahasati and Mahapanya. Just like spring water that flows steadily out of the ground all year round, they work ceaselessly. The thinking process is taken as the focal point of the investigation in order to find the true source of these thoughts. The four Namakhandas, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana, are the appropriate background for this superior degree of mindfulness and wisdom. As for the Rupakanda, the physical body, it ceased to be a problem when one achieved the intermediate level of wisdom. This form of wisdom performs the tasks necessary for realizing the anagami stage of the Noble Path. To attain this exalted level, one must focus on the physical body, investigating it scrupulously in every detail until all misunderstandings and concerns about the body are forever banished. When one comes to the final stage, the path to arahantship, it is absolutely essential to investigate the Namakhandas so that one gains a deep and clear understanding about how all phenomena arise, briefly exit, and then vanish. These three aspects of the investigation converge in the truth of anatta. This means examining all phenomena as being empty of a permanent self, empty of being a man or a woman, empty of being me or them. No self-entity whatsoever exists anywhere within mental phenomena. To comprehend the true nature of the Nammakhandas, one must discover the fundamental principles underlying them and understand them deeply and clearly with wisdom. It's not enough that we anticipate results or speculate about their nature, as is the common tendency of most people who just prefer to do guesswork. A theoretical understanding acquired from learning differs from a genuine understanding based on wisdom as the earth differs from the sky. People whose understanding is founded upon knowledge gained through memorization are very preoccupied with their own ideas, always assuming that they are highly intelligent. In truth, they are completely deluded. Consequently, they become overly conceited and are reluctant to accept help and advice from anyone. This arrogant tendency is quite apparent when a group of scholars discusses Dhamma, each one constantly trying to champion his own intellectual theories. These meetings usually degenerate into verbal sparring matches, spurred on by this common attitude of self-importance, until everyone, regardless of age, race, gender, or clan, forgets to observe the proper etiquette expected of such civilized people. Understanding based on wisdom is ready to uproot all types of speculative views that continually manifest our conceit. Wisdom is prepared to ferret out and expose these erroneous views, penetrating every niche until the whole edifice of these kilesas comes crashing down. There is not one kilesa that can successfully withstand the penetration of the highest degree of mindfulness and wisdom. In the Dhamma's arsenal, mindfulness and wisdom are the foremost weapons. Never have the kilesas been intrepid enough to defeat them. The Lord Buddha became the supreme teacher because of mindfulness and wisdom. His disciples became arahants because of mindfulness and wisdom. Because of mindfulness and wisdom, they were able to see with insight into the true nature of things. They didn't uproot their kilesas by using learning, supposition, or mere guesswork. In the initial stages of practice, concepts recalled from memory can be used to delineate the boundaries of the way forward. But one must exercise great caution lest this kind of conjecture causes delusion appearing in the guise of genuine truth. When the Lord Buddha and his arahant disciples proclaimed the truth of his teaching to the world, they were proclaiming the way of wisdom, the way that brings us to see the true nature of all phenomena. We practitioners of meditation must be extremely careful that the master of speculation doesn't sneak in and conjure up his tricks in place of wisdom. If we aren't, we will be led to mistake mere concepts for true understanding, without ever removing a single kilesa from our hearts. We may find ourselves inundated with knowledge about salvation, yet unable to save ourselves. This is exactly what the Lord Buddha meant when he advised the people of Kalama not to believe in speculation or conjecture, and not to believe teachings handed down from the past or teachers who are considered to be reliable, but to believe that the principles of truth can be discovered within themselves, by the wisdom within themselves. This is the surest kind of knowledge there is. The Lord Buddha and his arahant disciples didn't need anyone to validate the authenticity of their attainment, for Sanditiko is there within everyone who practices the Buddha's teaching in the right way. Acariya Mun said that when he came to this last level of advanced practice, he became so intrigued with it that he lost all sense of time. He completely forgot the time of day, forgot to sleep, and then forgot how tired he was. Fearless and unshakable, his chitta was constantly in position to oppose every type of kilesa, ready to excise them by their roots. From the time he left Wat Chedi Luang in Chiang Mai, he did not allow a single day to pass in vain, and before long he reached the point of ultimate understanding. We're going to end there today. We're at the very bottom of page 154 in chapter 3, and we're going to continue at the beginning of the very last paragraph on page 154 in the next recording. Have a wonderful day. Until next time, with Metta. Bye bye.